Thank you, Mrs. Aaron, Honorable Minister responsible for sports, Justina Charles, PS in the Ministry of Sports, Ms. Mandra Fagan, members of the media, listeners to DBS Radio, Kyrie FM, and Vibes Radio. In the area of youth sports programs, on Thursday, September 14th, and Friday, September 15th, the sports division met with principals and teachers of the secondary and the primary schools to discuss the planned programs for the year 2017-2018. Following discussions, the programs were set for implementation from September 18th, with the commencement of the PE and after-school sports programs at the primary schools. And in the area of competition at the secondary schools football championship. The primary schools independence athletics meet were also set for early October. With the passage of Hurricane Maria, a decision had to be taken to forego a number of the set programs. The decision made was mainly a cost-cutting measure in order to divert funds towards the rebuilding effort. It must be noted that all the planned youth programs are catered for in the recurrent expenditure. As a result of this decision, close to 60% of the programs are set for cancellation. And I'm saying here set for cancellation, reason being the decision in most part is a financial one, and the division has embarked on a drive to seek funding for the programs from non-government entities. So there is still a possibility that some of the programs will be held. However, since then, we have moved ahead with our activities in the area of youth sports. To point some of the ongoing programs thus far, on October 24th, training commenced for the Dominica under-15 cricket team at Portsmouth. A squad of 24 players was selected prior to Hurricane Maria. With the passage of Hurricane Maria, training had to be done in Portsmouth due to damages at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium and the Botanic Gardens. With the majority of the boys coming from the southern and central districts, the players had to be bused to Portsmouth 3 days a week. We received support with the cost of transportation by an organization called Sport Aid Dominica. The training continued weekly until departure of the team to St. Vincent on Saturday, December the 9th. On October 1st, saw the commencement of the secondary schools football championship, with the competition in the under-17 and under-20 divisions. The under-13 and under-15 divisions were cancelled. 8 schools are participating in the under-17 division, and 7 schools are participating in the under-20 division. 3 venues are being used for this year's competition. That is the Benjamin Spack, the Newtown Savannah, and the Cassie Bruce playing field. Some of our other traditional venues, like the Dublin playing field and the Pottersville Savannah, are not available this year due to damage at Dublin caused by Hurricane Maria, and at Pottersville, where the Pottersville Savannah is currently being used as a site for disposing and managing some of the waste that we had in the Roseau area during the hurricane. Preparation commenced on Saturday, December 9th for Dominica's participation at the 2018 Caribbean Under-16 Netball Tournament. The Caribbean Netball Association has not decided on the venue for the tournament. However, the sports division has selected 24 players to participate in the training exercises. Training sessions are being held at the Hat Court on the Benjamin Spack in Portsmouth. Traditionally, the Dominica Grammar School would be the venue for training. However, due to the fact that this section of the grammar school is being used as a shelter post-Maria an alternate venue had to be used. Training will continue every Saturday until the new year, when the training days will be increased. The secondary schools netball championship is expected to start off on December 15th with the under 16 and the under 20 divisions. The under 14 division had to be cancelled. The championship was originally planned to begin on November 16th, but due to the late opening of schools, it had to be pushed back. Early in the new year, we will have the commencement of the coaching caravan, and this is expected to start on January the 8th. This program offers weekly coaching in the area of cricket and netball at the primary schools. The previous commencement date was October the 9th, 2017. Also, the weekly PE and after-school sports at the primary schools will commence during the first week of the second term. Previous commencement date was September the 18th. Primary schools football coaching program will be done early in January with support from the Dominica Football Association, and this program will target the schools in the south and the east. The secondary schools volleyball championship will commence on January the 12th. The National Bank of Dominica Primary Schools Football Championship will start on January the 25th. Discussions will be held soon with the sponsors. The Massey United Insurance Under 20 Secondary Schools Cricket Championship is set to begin on January the 25th. And moving ahead, we will have a number of other programs which will be implemented during the months of January and March. Just to give an idea, on the 7th of March, we expect to have the opening of the secondary schools under 20 boys basketball, the 7th of February, secondary schools boys basketball championship. This last week, we commenced our training for the various table officials who will be officiating in next year's championship. We have also done an audit of a number of the basketball courts, and there are a few of the traditional courts that we normally use for the competitions that would have to receive some immediate attention, since, as you are aware, with basketball, the uprights are usually fixed into the ground, and with the passage of Maria, a number of them got damaged. So we would have to do some immediate repairs to ensure that the basketball championship gets started on February the 7th as planned. But that is work in progress, and we are working towards this. On the 27th of February, we also expect to have the opening of the secondary schools under 20 girls basketball championship. In March, we expect to have the secondary schools athletics championship, which hopefully probably can be done at the Windsor-Back Stadium. If not, we will have to move to our preferred venue, which is the Benjamin's Park in Portsmouth. And for very good reason, since the Benjamin's Park is probably the only sports facility in Dominica which did not suffer any significant damage. And that is expected to be held on the 15th and the 16th of March. March 21st, we expect to have the opening of the secondary schools under 15 cricket championship. It must be noted that in most of the programs that were mentioned, priority has been given to the programs at the higher age category. And this is largely due to, in order to ensure that our athletes are prepared to meet the various commitments of Dominica for participating in age group tournaments, we have decided to give the programs at the higher age group level priority, since it will be the basis for selecting a number of our teams which would participate at the various regional and sub-regional competitions. And this will also provide a platform for our athletes to be match ready for the various competition. And can also state here that earlier on I mentioned that some of the programs will continue with support from non-government entities. And we view these programs as very critical since they are grassroots programs, and we have been on a drive to source some funding. We have already received some positive response from Sport Aid Dominica, and it is our hope that we can move forward to have some sound, concrete commitments shortly from Sport Aid, which would enable us to move ahead with some of the grassroots programs. And with grassroots programs, I speak here of the various programs at the primary schools, which are critical in terms of developing the athletes for the elite level. We understand our role in the area of keeping our citizens healthy and also participating in creating that psychological effect in terms of getting our people, the spirits of our people high. And we know that sports play a very critical role in both areas. And we at the sports division, at the Ministry of Sports, we are taking this role very seriously. And we have seen the continuation of the various activities post-Maria as critical in playing in us achieving or helping our citizens in both areas, that is, in terms of the health aspects through physical activity and also the psychological role that sports can play in lifting the spirit of citizens. The majority of our officers are presently involved in assisting the Ministry of Housing with housing surveys that have been conducted. And we expect that as soon as this exercise is complete, our officers will be back on track. And one of the things that we intend to do as soon as we have the full contingent of our officers is to have a return of our community sports programs where we can have activities organized at the community level in order to engage our citizens to recreate and socialize in order to us playing our part in participating in the rebuilding effort of our country using sport as a medium to do so. Thank you very much.